The following program is presented for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are the views of the hosts and the host alone. The information or statements here are not known fact.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I've got new prescription rose-colored glasses, just like the great Don Callis. I didn't get a rock because I couldn't find a sheet. I'm here with your host, as always, the lovely, as my friend calls you, incredibly hot, Miss Gina. Gina's going to try to convince me today. I'm sorry I didn't let her say hi. But everything we've done so far, we've agreed on, which has been the 9/11 conspiracies, Satan as a Statue of Liberty. We kind of agreed on that. Satanic Panic, which we unfortunately lived through. Last week, UFOs. This one's going to be different because I think ghosts are total bullshit. Gina believes in ghosts. So we are going to talk about ghosts this week. As you can see, I take it so fucking seriously because I have Charlie Brown. He got a rock. So let's talk about ghosts. As always, it's your show. Go ahead.
Oh, ghosts. Well, I think everybody has a story of something that was unexplained that happened to them at some point in their life, whether they were a kid or, a grown adult or, some type of experience that's happened to them that is kind of unexplained. And they're like, did that door really open? Or did I really hear footsteps upstairs and there's nobody there? Have you ever experienced anything like that before?
Shit, I had my thing muted because my dog was howling. I know, but I'm one of those guys that's like, okay, I heard I'm gonna do sound effects. House is settling. Oh, the lights came on. Your Alexa fucked up. Now let's go back to the 90s. My lights came on. Circuit breaker broke. I heard somebody talking. You got a baby monitor? Yeah, you got into the wrong channel. So I don't believe in ghosts. And it's not because I'm like a Catholic. Like I mentioned before, this weirdo I work with, he does believe in ghosts, no offense, but he's like, oh, when you die, you lose. What's that movie? 21 grams? Your soul weighs 21 grams, apparently. I don't fucking
Hmm.
know. But when you
Hmm.
die, your soul leaves you, so you're just a dead body. Although he believes he knows priests that have talked to dead people, which throws the whole zombie thing out the window. But I don't know. I don't believe in him. And I've gone to my wife, not her, by the way, not her mom either. Hey, if you're listening to me, what's your mom's name? Roni?
Right.
Um, we've gone to like the ghost hunter stuff, like what his name's Dustin, somebody we've gone to like see shows with him and everything. And what he says is kind of like, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I just don't. I can't. I mean, I'm not saying clearly, by this show, I'm not a man of science, but I just can't. Unless somebody captures, unless you're fucking Ghostbusters and you show me the trap with the thing in it, I guess if I can't see it, I can't believe it. Maybe I'm visual, but my 5-minute answer to your 5-second question was no. I really don't. Maybe
No
convince
experience.
me.
No
No, I have no
experience.
experience with it.
Never had that experience where you've been somewhere and felt like someone was standing right behind you.
Well, now, okay, now hold on.
Or is it just creepy because you watched a movie and it gave you the creeps?
I will say this, and I don't know if this counts as like a ghost experience, but it's just sound weird. Like sometimes, like I'll wake up and something will happen, and I'll be like, I saw this already, but I saw it in a dream. Not like Freddy Krueger shit. I'm not being weird, but it's
Yeah.
like everything you're saying to me, I've already seen it, but I dreamed it. Does that count?
I don't know. um, I mean, I've actually had several, experiences of my own that made me believe that maybe not so much an actual person is, still trying to reach you, But like when you watch like Ghost Hunters, and these different programs out there, and different researchers where they're like, well, they talk about how a room or a building or maybe the land or something has like some type of a tape recorder. Like they talk about the minerals and the metals and everything under the ground. It somehow forms some type of a tape recorder, and it just keeps replaying the same thing, like over and over again, whether it be at the same time, same day, or just something that happens, over and over. I had an experience once where when we first bought a house, my ex-husband and I had bought a house, and our daughter was probably about a year and a half old, I think. Well, no, she wasn't even quite a year old at the time that we moved
Oh,
in.
wait, I gotta ask, is this the ex-husband I knew or the other
The one,
ex-husband?
the one you knew, yeah.
Okay, folks, he's a wackadoo. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But so we bought this house, and it bedrooms upstairs, had a family room downstairs. And shortly after we moved in, we put the baby to sleep. We're downstairs. We have a sofa set up where you can turn and you can see the flight of stairs going up in the kitchen, and then you go around the living room, then down the stairs to the bedrooms, or I'm sorry, down the hall to the bedrooms. And we're sitting there watching something, and we have a baby monitor downstairs. And but we heard what sounded like the flashing on the front door, like open. Like the house was built in 1961, so it had this metal flashing. So it was to I guess for drafts and whatnot. I don't see them put that on houses anymore, but 1961 they had this metal flashing on the door, so you could actually, it made a certain sound when the door would open. And then you hear this, footsteps going from the front door across the hall, living room, through the kitchen, and it stopped at the landing, didn't come down the steps. And we're both like looking up at the ceiling, going, "What did you hear that?"
Now let me ask you, as I guess this is weird because I'm like, I didn't watch the X-Files, I'm sorry, but I guess I'm more like Scully and you're like Mulder, which is complete. I guess if they made it nowadays, you would do a gender swap. But
Yeah.
did you ever think like, fuck, somebody's on my baby monitor? Because I've heard that before, you hear other voice on the baby monitor. Was that something that you ruled out right away or something that you thought?
Yes. Yeah, we ruled out the baby monitor thing because actually when it happened again, we turned off the baby monitor thinking, are we hearing something from somebody else's house or whatever? No, we actually had tried that. But we, of course, my ex runs up the stairs, and we're looking at the front door, deadbolts locked, baby's in her room, the door is closed. We go through all of the bedrooms, look under the beds, because it was very evident that something came through the front door and walked across the floor. I mean, it was literally, you could just follow the path, all the way across. And then you're looking, waiting for someone to poke their head around the corner to look down the stairs. That continued to happen for many years. We bought the house in 2001. And I want to say I stopped hearing it about 2009 or 10 when I met my now husband. But no,
Just to be clear, I like the new one a lot better. And I'm gonna say this without mentioning names. I remember your ex-husband. For those of you that don't know, I'm gonna say this and then I'll quit interrupting you. Queef. A queef is when a lady's private areas blows essentially a fart. And he wanted to tell, I worked with him and he wanted to tell me about it rather than just say queef or quote unquote pussy fart. He was like, there was a lady on the radio Good grief. And this was me. This was me. Uh-huh. He was talking about the Howard Stern show. I was like, uh-huh.
Oh my
You know
God.
what that means? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, it's pussy fart. And I'm like, we're like in our upper 20s, dude. This is really sad. So anyway, your new husband, he's cool. So I'm done interrupting you, I promise.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But we actually had this occurrence. We never heard it when you were upstairs. Okay. You never heard it upstairs. You only heard it when you were downstairs. So our utility room that ceiling was unfinished. So I walked in there and I'm looking for the piping. I'm looking to see, is there something that's buckling in there, like the ductwork or something that maybe is going in the same direction as the living room through the kitchen and whatnot. And there was nothing that corresponded with the angle and everything that you would get from that sound. Now, it continued to happen, like I said, and we really didn't tell anybody because it was kind of like people just look at you like, yeah, okay, here we go. Somebody's got another ghost story. But, nothing ever really transpired. There was no like, get out, there was nobody touching anybody or anything like that. I will say though, that I have a really good girlfriend and it's just my best friend. And I didn't even tell her. We weren't in the house very long. I want to say maybe a year. And I asked her if she would watch my dog so we could go on vacation. And at the time we didn't have a,
Let's see how smart I am. Your dog was a Siberian Husky.
yep, yep.
I don't remember its name. I bet. Tell me the first letter. Let's see if I remember his name.
Well, there were two, one with an M and one with an N.
Marmaduke and I don't know. I can't think anything properly. I can't. I keep wanting to say marmalade, but I know that's not it. And Nanook, but that's lost me.
Murphy and Nico.
Nico,
Yeah,
yes, because the great Steven Seagal's first movie
yeah,
was called Above the Law. Other countries known as Nico.
yeah. So anyway, I asked her if she'd watch my dogs while we went out of town, and she's like, "Oh yeah." Well, at the time we didn't have a deck off the back of our house, so she had to actually, come through the front door, go downstairs to let them out the back through, so they'd be in the gated backyard. And so she comes over to let the dogs out, and she takes them downstairs. She lets them out the basement door, and she's kind of looking out the window there, waiting for them to finish their business, and she hears somebody walking across the living room floor, across the kitchen, and it stops at the landing there. She walks over towards the stairs and hollers up and she goes, I'm Gina, or I'm so and so. I'm Gina's friend. I'm letting her dogs out. And nobody responded. And she really got freaked out because she said, I knew they were at the top of the stairs because they stopped right there at the kitchen doorway, but they just did. She's like, I'm waiting for them to poke their head around. So she got freaked out. She went out the backyard, grabbed the two dogs. Of course, she didn't have any leashes because they were upstairs. So she grabbed the two dogs by their collars, came around the front of the house, which she'd left the front door open when she, came in. So she threw the dogs in the house, shut the door, went home, got her husband, goes, do we call 911? Someone's in their house. I don't want to call her. She's out of town and freak her out thinking there's somebody in the house if there's nobody in the house. So they had this huge, discussion of what they were going to do over this, footsteps that she heard that came through the house. And so they went back over the house, evidently with a knife and a flashlight and whatever, and like looked under beds and looked through all the closets and everything, and didn't find anything. They said nothing to us. She never called and said anything. So to thank them, we invited them over like on a Friday night for pizza. Okay, so after we came back, we invited them over. and we're
I
having
never
pizza.
got invited over for pizza, just so you people
Yeah,
know.
you did. You and Jamie used to come over. We'd watch.
Oh, we didn't come over for pizza. I always brought video games for your dumbass ex-husband to play.
Yeah, I think we watched movies. Yeah. Anyway,
Let me tell you, fans, we watched two movies. The first one, her ex-husband, who will remain nameless, says, "Oh, I got this movie." Keep in mind, now I am a connoisseur of the movie. So I've watched Italian, Japanese, I watched all these gore movies. Oh, I got this movie. You want to love it. It's so. He rents goddamn what? Queen of the Vampire, some Anne Rice bullshit. And we turn on, and this is me without glasses. This is me the whole movie. He's like, here comes the gore fest. Well, of course it's not the book, so you get a little music montage. Queen of the Damned was the movie, I'm sorry.
yeah.
And it happens, and you see all these people dead, and he's like, well, in the book, everybody was dead. Here's me. And then, if you recall, then I told him, I said, dude, I'm fucking bringing the movie next time, which we've talked about before was Dr. Butcher, MD, Medical Deviant. So, and I still have other really cool movies I can show, but we haven't hooked up in a while. But yeah, don't, she can say I was down there, but this doofus is showing me like Queen of the Damned and all this stuff. And it was like, no, this is baby shit.
What was the early 2000s? So anyway, we're eating pizza, we're starting a movie, and the flashing sound from the front door and the footsteps go from the living room through the kitchen to the landing. And my ex and I are just looking at the TV, like, just don't look at the ceiling. And her husband and her both look up at the ceiling and, like, literally follow the footsteps. And then are looking at the landing, wondering if someone's going to poke their head around the corner. And she goes, someone's upstairs. And I said, no, no, nobody's up there. She's like, I just heard someone come through the door. And I said, no, nobody came through the door. She's like, Gina, someone just came through your house. Elena's upstairs. And I'm like, no, nobody came in. And she's like, what is going on? And so I said, well, we've had this problem where we keep hearing these, but she's like, oh my God, I came over and I let the dogs out. And I heard these footsteps and I had to take the dogs around the house, throw them through the front door. And we came over with a knife and we were looking around and I didn't want to call you. And she was in all this time. You didn't tell me, and I'm coming over to let your dogs out, and you've got something going on in your house. And I just said, it was just one of those things where, you just didn't openly advertise to people that you had this weird phenomenon that went on in your house, and you really didn't know how to explain it. And it wasn't anything malicious, or anything like that. It was just something kind of odd. Um, the funny thing was that after my ex-husband moved out, and I want to say,
Good riddance, by the way.
yeah, I want to say somewhere around like 2009, 10, when I met my current husband, um, we weren't hearing it anymore. I think I may
Not,
have heard
not,
it
not
I
to
think I may have
interrupt,
heard once or twice.
not to interrupt you, but once again, just so we reiterate, her current husband is not me.
Yeah. But one thing he did hear, and I'm gonna finish with the ghost story of my house, but because there's like several things. But one thing that my current husband did hear, and we did hear every now and then this mom, and the kids weren't around or whatever, and you're like, where's that coming from? There's no baby monitor on, the windows aren't open, and it's like right there. Well, when we first started dating, he came over a little early. I wasn't quite ready. He's standing in the doorway while I'm, putting mascara on in the mirror, and he's standing there with his hands kind of, on the doorway, waiting and, just looking around. And all of a sudden you hear this, Mom. And I'm like, oh God, did it have to do it now? I just, haven't been dating this guy very long. And now I got to tell him I got weird stuff. So I'm sitting here putting my mascara on in the mirror, just pretending like I didn't hear. And he goes, I thought the girls were at their dad's. And I'm like, they are. Yeah, they are. And he goes, I just heard someone yell mom, like they're down the hallway. And he's like, I just heard somebody. And I'm like, no. Every now and then we just kind of get this random mom. And anyway, it freaked him out. But he probably heard it more than a dozen times, I want to say, in the um well, probably over 11 years that we lived in that house together. So the house definitely had some odd things, but I mean, nothing ever reached out and touched you, nothing spoke to you personally, nothing like that. So to me, it was kind of like a tape recorder, just kept replaying this, the same type of things over and over and over again.
Okay, I keep muting my mic because I have some noise upstairs. My wife's watching Learning Channel. And if you really want to learn things, you learn things about the Amish Mafia and sister wives. And although I really don't get how that guy's got all those hot women. But see, for me, it's always been kind of like I've never experienced anything. So other than like some weird dreams and stuff, but like so my wife is the queen. Her name's Jamie. She's the queen of the jump scares. We go to a movie always. So let's show you the most famous in recent memory ghost movie is Paranormal Activity.
Mm.
So we're watching this stink movie, and so we're watching Paranormal Activity, and all at once it's like, oh my god! Like, oh yeah, fucking light went on downstairs. Alexa fucked up. This is before Alexa. So we're watching it again, and you see the commercials, and I'm gonna try to put the footage in here. You see the commercial of these people, and they're like all freaked out, and we're watching it. It's like, oh my god, something started on fire. Sleep, or oh my god, the light went on and it moved. Conditioner hit the sheet. Like I could never get the fascination, and that's when I realized that, oh my God, she really buys into this. And I'm not discrediting anything everybody says, but here's me once again. Like you said, you heard Mommy. I remember when my son was little, we had a baby monitor. And we could hear other people in it. And this was me, baby monitor. What is this?
Yeah.
I'll fucking kill you and all that, baby monitor. Or we hear your house is settling.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear the fucking wind? We just, as well as I, we had a hurricane. Yeah. We're in Nebraska. We had a fucking hurricane here a few months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife was crying. It was actually really scary, but I'm that guy. And it's so weird that I'm that guy because I'm the first one that says, okay, well, UFOs are real. Oh, this is real. This is real. This is real. Ghosts, I still haven't believed, but now if some motherfucking sheet is in front of me after beyond filling it full of lead with one of my guns, then I can get it. But it's never happened to me. I mean, and thank God. Because if it happened to me, it probably would change me. Now, do I believe in ghosts? Sure. I do. Sort of. Like, what's the whole thing? Like they say, like when you die, you lose 21 grams because that's your soul. And I don't buy into all that. But do I believe there's people trapped between, like, let's say, I'll say heaven because I don't believe in hell. It's like heaven, and then here's like the real world. Yeah, sure. Like, I do believe that. I've just never, I guess I'm lucky enough to never have encountered it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's not anything's possible in this day and age. I'm still one of those guys that's not like necessarily a science guy, but it's like until it happens to me, I can't buy into it. But I mean, I've seen, like, I don't believe I'm going to watch a fucking videotape and some fucking bitch covered in tar is going to crawl out and I'm going to die like the Ring and all that. I can't buy into that, but I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying I personally, and no offense to you,
Yeah.
I love you. I can't buy into it.
Yeah. Well, I guess until you've had the experience of something like that, that you can't figure out, is it the house? Is it ductwork? Is it plumbing that's making noises or whatever? It is hard to grasp that there could be something or someone that's stuck between, like you say, heaven and hell, or, the ghost, so to speak. But, the funny thing was I had several family members that heard my footstep things. My mom did. And then when I tried to explain to her that, something was going to happen, she's like, yeah, whatever. And then when she heard it, she's going around the house. Your neighbors are messing with you. Something's going on. Someone's got a key to this house. And I'm like, no, nobody's, my aunt, who's kind of more of a holy roller, we explained to her one time when she came over to visit, and she did the same thing. So, but it's, I think until something really happens to you that's unexplainable, or something that just keeps reoccurring, that's not just a little knock on the door, it's something very, very apparent that what has just happened, you are skeptical. I love to be scared. Loved it since I was a kid. My parents took us to drive-in movies, scary movies, since I was a
Love the
kid.
drive-in.
Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, like we were talking with the last one, Slithish, these scary movies, I love to be scared. So yeah, and I love anything to do with ghosts or paranormal.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, this is kind of more embarrassing, but this is where I kind of fall in this. How old was your husband when I met you? And I met you in probably, fuck beans. It was probably before the millennium hit. Was it? No, it was after the millennium. It was in the 2000s. How old were we when we met? You and I are more the same age.
Let's see. I want to say I was 28, and
So how old would your husband have been?
I'm 50 now. He was let's see. He was 4 years older than me.
So he was probably in his 30s when we met.
Yeah.
The real moral of the story isn't ghosts. It's the moral that a 30-year-old guy couldn't say queef or pussy fart. He kept going. That's the real moral of the story, is that she was married to the wrong guy. And, no offense, but he couldn't say queef. Queef is an easy word. You ever watch South Park? Terrence and Phillip met the Queef sisters, for Christ's sakes. But I remember the second day I met this guy, it was like, and then Howard Stern had this guy on that did. And he didn't say it out loud. He's like whispering it out. And this is me. This is me. What is wrong with this guy? But he was
You
okay.
worked somewhere where you had a whole bunch of ladies behind the
We didn't have any ladies behind us. We had some fucking weirdo lady like 20 feet over, and some other girl I don't even remember. And the lady in question that was 20 feet away, she was strange as shit anyway. But he's going, and he's saying it like a little kid. He's not like, hey, he said pussy fart. He's like, he said, he's like that. Like, I'm waiting for him to like pee himself or giggle. So I think that's the more strange thing. And then let's keep in mind, fans, I have introduced her to the world of Dr. Butch MD, medical deviant. But we're having a Halloween party. Well, I'm having a Halloween party. You're not invited to it because you don't live here. But wait till you see what I show her this fucking year. But yeah, ghosts, like I said, and let me apologize if you people think I'm making fun of you. I'm a Charlie Brown fan. I wanted to decorate my son. When my son was born, I wanted to decorate his room in Charlie Brown. The two things that happen is, A, it's really hard to find in this day and age. And two, what you can find is stupid expensive. But I've always been a big Charlie Brown. I have actual original Charlie Brown books, believe it or not, from, 60s and 70s, like these original ones. And I love Charlie Brown. And this is Charlie Brown behind me. I got a rock, because he's dressed like a ghost, and that's why I did it. But do I think ghosts are real? I think, like I said before, I think everything's real. I mean, if you think you're the only thing or anyone in the world, if you really do believe that in your mind, you're conceited. Because you shouldn't believe that. I do believe they're real. I just personally, I have never. I don't want to say I haven't had the privilege. Excuse me. I keep burping because of Red Bridge, gluten free. I don't think it's necessarily like if I'm one of those people, I have to see it. I have never, I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. I've never seen it. So ergo, I don't really believe in it. But like, yeah, like my wife watches these movies and we're watching like the what's that one? The Conjuring. And we're watching The Conjuring and she's jumping left and right and farting because she's so scared and everything. And me and my son are just like this because it's just not us. So, do I think ghosts are real? Yeah, sure I do. I mean, once again, there's no fucking way they're not in this day and age. But I have never encountered one, so I kind of laugh it off. That's doesn't make me a douche. I just
Do you have any
personally believe it.
you have any favorite like ghost stories or ghost movies or anything like that that you thought that were like
But see, I don't even like the movies.
you
Like when I
don't?
watch them, it's just kind of like she'll be like Conjuring, Annabelle. It's and I'm naming more modern ones because I can't
Yeah.
think. Amityville. Okay, we'll go older Amityville, and I'm just like, God, this is fucking. I am more of okay, like here comes the here comes the slasher, and you two kids are fucking so. That's kind of what I am. I'm more simplistic. I am truthfully in the realm of horror. I am a Friday the 13th. I am a Halloween. I don't like Freddy. My Bloody Valentine, The Prowler. I'm more of a slasher movie. Like, and my wife is more of a Conjuring, Insidious, Annabelle, Amityville Horror, The Ring, Grudge, stuff like that. That's more her speed. For me, those are just kind of like eh, my son is 15, so he's just like for anything, but he does prefer the slash. He is a huge Jason fan, although he thinks Hellraiser is boring, which really scares me for our generation.
Yeah. My kids, I remember there was a movie that came out. I don't remember the name of there was a little blonde boy in the movie, Casper and the Friendly Ghost. Do you remember the movie Casper? I think it had Christina Ricci in it.
Yeah, now here's the weird thing. Do you remember Richie Rich?
It sounds, I know the name. I cannot remember.
Google Richie Rich. Everyone listening, Google Richie Rich and look at it. He fucking committed suicide because that's Casper the Friendly Ghost. Dead serious. Think I'm lying. Look up Richie Rich and then look up Casper the Friendly Ghost. Maybe he committed suicide. Maybe somebody murdered him.
Was that the kid?
I don't know. They look the same. The same guy drew it in the old school comics, but I think Richie Rich was either committed suicide or was murdered and he became Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, okay. I'm following you. No, there was that movie that came out with Christina Ricci and the young blonde boy that were in it, and I remember my daughters were like, "Oh,
You're talking
it's
about Casper Van Dien from Starship Troopers. Close personal friend of mine, Casper Van Dien, might I say.
But no, I mean, I honestly love a lot of ghost movies, stories, stuff like that. Um, I loved that movie Field of Dreams, where all the baseball players and whatnot.
Baseball movie?
Yeah, do you
The
remember
dude
that?
from Waterworld, Kevin
Yeah.
Costner,
Yep, yep,
and the late,
yep,
great James Earl Jones.
yep, yep. Loved
Never
that
saw it.
movie. You
I've
never
never
saw
seen
it?
it. No, I've never seen it. I know what
No.
you're familiar with. Like, if you
Yeah,
build it, they will come. I know what movie you're talking about,
it's good. It's really good.
but
No, but yeah.
it's a baseball movie, right? Is
Yeah.
it as good as Major League with Charlie Sheen and Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, it is. It's
Some
good.
big words.
It's good. Now, we used to do things as teenagers, prank calls and pretend like you were a ghost of somebody's past, and then stuff that I probably regret doing when I was 15 years old. Um, we actually used to play hide and seek in a cemetery off of 180th and Q Street.
I know what you're talking about.
There's houses there now, but
Yeah.
at the time, my boyfriend and I had we're going to Millard South High School. And so it was pretty much gravel road, not much past, I think, 156th Street. So you pretty much took a gravel road to this cemetery that was out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was dark, there was no lights, there was nothing. I want to say that we took some flashlights and whatnot and a Ouija board out to the cemetery, and we'd play hide and seek. And I remember hiding behind a headstone, and I looked up at the name and it said Munster, and I was like, oh my God, it says Munster. And we were good kids. We never vandalized anything. We never, did anything like that, not at all. No. And but somebody brought a Ouija board, and we probably went there with about 2 carloads of kids. Okay, this is when you could pack the cars, full of kids. Can't do that these days. I think your kid can have one person in the car, and they have to be related or something. So anyway, we put this Ouija board on top of a headstone, and I remember they were asking it questions and this and that, and at one point, nobody was touching it, and all of a sudden it shifted, and I'm sure it's the wind or whatever, but just the way it spun on the top of that headstone, we all like dispersed, like scrambled, and were knocking into each other trying to get in the door first, to get out of there. It freaked us out so bad. We never, ever, ever went back to the cemetery again. We never played hide and seek out there again. Nothing. I don't even know if the Ouija board got left there. All I know is that all of our friends scrambled and got in the car and drove out of there as fast as we possibly could. Now, I'm pretty sure either somebody's coat accidentally, touched the corner of it and spun, or the wind or whatever. But yeah, that freaked us out. But yeah, we used to do stupid stuff like that. And the funny thing was, just last summer, I had told my daughter, I said, I keep driving back and forth. And I said, I think that's the cemetery that we used to go to as kids. And I said, there's a headstone in there. I said that I read said Munster. So I took her over there with my husband. My husband parked the car, went in, walked around a little bit, and sure enough, I found it. So it's just funny, that here all this development goes on around it, and, kind of give you those vibes of the poltergeist movies, with the cemetery being, mowed down and the houses being built on. It's like, how many people are buried under those, houses in that area? You just don't know, where people are buried, but everything that creeped up around that cemetery is kind of, I don't know if I'd want to have a house backed up to a cemetery.
No, I mean, as long as the cemetery, as long as you buried all the bodies in cement, because the zombie Holocaust could have happened. But I got to ask you, so we've done the ghosts. I'm sorry, I love you, but you didn't convince me. I hope I don't get convinced. Because like I flat out said, if the shit happens, I'll get convinced. So hopefully nothing convinces me. But let me ask you real quick before I go into a 2-part question. Part one, what's your favorite ghost movie?
Oh gosh. I don't know. Um, I've always liked the Amityville horror movies, but
Second one a lot.
yeah, but that one, some of it was based on true story, but they kind of twisted it a little bit for cinema. So,
I
but
would
yeah,
like if they remade Ghost with Hank Hill and Peggy Hill, and instead of like doing the thing, like I posted a picture of it where they're like the clay, like they're rubbing the
the
propane thing.
pottery.
I think that would be kind of cool. But um My favorite ghost movie? Mine, Chinese Ghost Story is really good. I mean, it's just never been a trend I've been in. So now I'm gonna put you on the spot. We've covered the ghosts. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot before I say the next thing. I'm put you on the spot twice. First put on the spot. What do you want to talk about next week?
I picked
They're
it
over
this week.
fans.
You've got to pick it for next week.
I gotta pick it.
I picked it this week.
You did pick ghosts. How about we pick? I'm gonna forget the name. The smoke that comes out of the aeroplanes.
Oh, chemtrails.
Yes, I know you're a chemtrail.
Weather modification.
Weather modification. So we're going to do weather modification next week. Now I am really going to hit you up with one. I have an idea for everybody loves movie commentaries. I love who doesn't fucking love a movie commentary? Halloween show, but it can't be on Halloween because that's taken. It's gonna be the day before Halloween is when it's got to air because that's Devil's Night. And if you've seen The Crow, you know when they go fire it up because that's Devil's Night. So we won't tell you what yet. Would you be willing? We'll hang out, we'll eat food and get drunk and record a Devil's Night movie commentary. What do you say? I enter at the drunk part, fans, because that's how the ladies are. Don't ever let them fool you. But all you need, fans, let me tell you what I've told my son. If you want to get a way to a woman's heart, alcohol and pizza. With my heart anyway. But I mean, that'll work for you. But so next week we've got chemtrails. We're going to record a special on Halloween commentary. I still don't believe in ghosts. Thank God I don't get a rock. But are you going to pass out candy for Halloween?
Yep.
You going to give anybody rocks?
No.
I was
No,
remembering,
actually, a lot of our neighbors will sit out and do fire pits and hand out little shots to the parents.
our one wackadoo neighbor gave out markers one year. I don't mean like new markers from like fucking used markers this wackadoo gives out. But I always remember to Married with Children when Steve came over. It was when Al was going to go camping and Steve came over and the neighborhood kids were like, it's that guy that gives us potatoes for Halloween. I always can't remember that because I like to get potatoes for Halloween. But
I think my husband's niece, something with potatoes. She did something like that where, or maybe it
what's
was her
up,
kid
fans?
came to the door and they said, "Do you want this candy bar or a potato?" They asked him, and then she said, "You wouldn't believe how many kids asked for the potato. They
When
they chose the potato."
when you go to a restaurant and you order the baked potato, do you also eat the skin?
Yes.
Me too. Everybody thinks I'm weird. That's how you get the rock salt and the nutrients and the ingredients.
Yeah. That's one of the best parts, especially if it's crispy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes fun of me.
No,
Bastards.
gotta eat the skin.
Gotta eat it. This was Ghosts. Next week, Smoke from Planes. What's it called again?
Chemtrails.
Then something after
And
that.
I have pictures that I have taken of my own that were over a series of about an hour from when they started to when they dissipated and turned into clouds. So I will share those.
While you're waiting for that, look up weather modification Vietnam. Because it really did happen. And then we
Mhm.
got something else after that. And then we got a hot Devil's Night commentary. So we'll think of the movie, but I got nothing else to say. How about you?
Nope, that's it. Thanks for listening to my ghost stories.